Hey guys, so in this video, I want to give you some tips for Semmelweis. So just for your information, I did not include any form of showcase in this video. That's because I have posted several of Semmelweis video already. So I will put it in the video description, the links to some of the things like the showcase of her rotation, the team comp, using her as a DPS or even using her as a support for other team other than Bloodtithe. So I have that link in the video description. So here I'm mainly just going to explain verbally on some of these tips that I would recommend for Semmelweis. So for the first tip, probably everyone is already doing this already, but I'm just going to put it out, which is always keep her buff on the main DPS and keep her array active at all time, right? You want it to be active because this is where her supportive capability is from. So in terms of rotation, which is tips 2, due to her gaining +1 Moxie every 8 Bloodtithe, it is likely for Semmelweis to regain her ultimate without doing anything. So which means you are just going to use S1, you're going to use S2 for her buff, and then ultimate for the array, and that's it, okay? However, if you are using her outside of Bloodtithe, then she might need a little bit more because you will not be generating as much Bloodtithe as you would in the Bloodtithe team. So in this case, you have to somewhat balance it out and use S1 accordingly. So my recommendation for Bloodtithe, round 1, you use S2, buff Nautica, and then round 2, you use ult, round 3, you don't do anything, then after that, you repeat back for round 1. Also in the Bloodtithe team, you start with 4 Moxie because of Nautica gaining 8 Bloodtithe at the start of the round, so Semmelweis instantly get 1 Moxie, so she start with 4. And if you have higher portrait of Nautica, you can even start with 5 Moxie for Semmelweis. However, if you are using her in the non-Bloodtithe team, then she will start with only 3 Moxie. So in this case, the first round, you use S2 to buff your DPS. The DPS can be herself. And then you use S1 to attack to get that 1 additional Moxie. Then in round 2, you use Ultimate, where she will gain 1 Moxie after using Ultimate. And then you use S2, and she would have 2 Moxie. Then in round 3, you use S1 again to get 1 more Moxie, that's 3, and then after that you repeat back round 1, which means you use S2 on your DPS, then you use S1 again, that would be 5 Moxie. However, definitely the enemy will attack you, and if you are buffing your main DPS with Semmelweis buff, they will also deplete HP, so eventually you might get up to 8 Bloodtithe. So in that case, you don't need to use S1 as often as what I have written in the rotation, alright? So just use S1 as necessary. For tips number 2, it is okay to use her ultimate even if her array is still active, because some of us might be thinking, I want to optimize my AP, so I'm going to wait until her ultimate is completely over, then I reuse it to recast back the array. So the thing with Semmelweis is that her ultimate depletes everyone's HP, and that is a very good skill to use to charge or to gain more Bloodtithe. So if you have it early and you really want to reduce your HP in order to charge or gain more Bloodtithe, then just do it, okay? You don't have to keep it, alright? Unless you have a lot of other things that you want to do, like you want to buff back your characters at the same time, you want to use Nautica's S1 or S2, and then you just have too many things going on, then it's better to wait until it's all over and then to recast the ultimate, okay? So it's mainly on AP management. For tips number 4, outside of Bloodtithe team, which means let's say you are using her with like Jiuniangzi or Cassandra or Ezio or those follow-up character that I've showcased in some of my videos, you might want to try and bring the max Bloodtithe to over 70. As you can see from the picture, 47 over 71, the max here is 71. So how do you get up to 70? If you don't do anything and you are not bringing characters that has very high HP, usually you will have about 50 plus to 60. And Semmelweis case, if you have more than 70, then you get additional 25% extra action damage dealt. So the maximum Bloodtithe depends on the total HP of your party. For example, 1000 HP is equal to 1 max Bloodtithe. So let's say if Nautica have 30,000, that's 30 Bloodtithe. You bring in Semmelweis 20,000, that's plus 20, so that's 50 max Bloodtithe. Then you have another character, each having 10,000, you will easily hit 7,000 for the Bloodtithe team. For the non-Bloodtithe team, most of the character is about 10 to 15,000. So if you bring 3 character with 15,000 HP, you have 45 Bloodtithe. Semmelweis comes in, which is about 22. Then you get 67, right? So you will not be able to hit 70. So here are some of the characters that has high HP. For example, Kakania or Eternity. So these characters, and you set all their resonance to HP, they might be able to push the max Bloodtithe above 70. However, because these characters with a lot of HP usually doesn't provide as much damage boost to your main DPS, so it's kind of like a trade-off. So if you bring in characters that has a lot of damage boost, like you bring Bloodtithe and Fatutu, then you might not need to push all the way to above 70. If you can do that, of course, that's even better. But it's okay to be about 50% max Bloodtithe, because Fatutu and Bloodtithe provide even more to the party. For tips number 5, in a Bloodtithe team, the team has very high damage reduction, and the team needs to be healed to drain more HP. Like, you want the enemy to be able to directly attack your HP, reduce your HP so you can heal back up, and also when you heal back up, you use skills that can reduce it further. So in that case, don't bring a shielder, right? Characters that has shield, although Medicine Pocket has shield, but Medicine Pocket also have the capability to drain your party's HP, so it's still acceptable. But in most cases, don't bring a shielder, because you want the enemy to attack you and drain your HP so you can get more Bloodtithe. However, in a non-Bloodtithe team, or I would rather call this as a HP reduction team, is that you want to operate at low HP, because when you have low HP, that is when you get the maximum buff from Semmelweis. Okay? So if you're always at low HP, it's going to be very risky. So this time you bring a shielder, because you can't heal your party, right? You shouldn't heal your main DPS. So the only way to protect them is to have a shield. So 2 best unit for this currently is Bebbles and Keeperina. And lastly, for tips number 6, Semmelweis has a very good synergy with follow-up attack unit, because she now provides buff that is for extra action. And since follow-up attack unit attacks so often, they drain their HP faster and can reach lower HP to maximize Semmelweis buff in a lower number of rounds. So for example, Jay Bebbles. Jay can even reduce his own HP faster, because that's how he works, and hence will be able to fully utilize Semmelweis buff effectively. So here you bring Bebbles to support him, right? Don't bring Keeperina, because Keeperina casts her shield first, and when Jay casts his shield, he will not be able to override Keeperina's. However, for Bebbles' case, you can cast Jay's first and then you cast Bebbles. So Bebbles' shield will stack on top of Jay, while Keeperina is the other way around, which will not trigger Jay's riposte. So don't do that, right? So Jay, Bebel, and now you can bring Semmelweis in the party. Apart from that, mineral follow-up attack like Tioniangzi or Warrior Cassandra has many follow-up attacks, allowing them to deplete their HP. And since they are all mineral, you might as well just bring Bebel, who is also mineral, and you form the complete mineral HP reduction follow-up attack team. But for your information, if you don't have Bebel's, Keeperina will work as well. As for star follow-up attack unit like Liangyue, Lilia, then you can directly party them with Keeperina and Semmelweis. then they will function very well as well. Alright, so this is the tips for Semmelweis. Again, the video links are all in the video description. So if you want to watch the showcase, please watch those links that I have shared. So thank you very much for watching this video and have a good day.